Hello, this is Joe Walensky of ConveyUX. I'm the program manager for our event that's coming up in Seattle in January, and I'm talking with the speakers who will be at the event. The person I'm speaking to today is Elizabeth Allen of Centralis. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, how are you doing?
All right, where are you talking to us from?
I'm in Evanston, Illinois. Beautiful Evanston, Illinois.
So just north of Chicago.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization and the nature of the work that you're involved in?
Sure. So I work at Centralis, which is a small UX research and design consulting firm. We take on clients from a huge, wide range of industries, everything from education to nonprofits, financial services, travel, e-commerce, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm involved in consulting on UX research and design projects here.
And so, what does that mean on a daily basis? What types of activities are you involved in?
Sure. So on a daily basis, I'm involved in a lot of usability testing, card sorts, focus groups, that sort of thing. A lot of online A/B testing, international research, ethnographic research, and then also we have a design focus as well. So often I'm taking what I learned from research and creating wireframes or prototypes or design mock-ups to share with our clients.
And so, how did you get to where you're at today? What path got you to this point?
Yeah, a little bit of a non-traditional path. I did a PhD in psychology at the University of Chicago, working with Steve Chabelle on a lot of problems in color perception and other visual perception stuff. And when I finished up my PhD, I knew I didn't want to be in academia, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I started looking at different industries, and UX really kind of popped out as a field where I could use my psychology background in a way that I could actually possibly make some money and kind of get out in the real world and help clients across different industries. And so I made the leap from academia to what I'm doing now about 2 years ago or so. And I'm really glad that I did. I'm not looking back at all.
And so let me ask you a little bit more about how your background fits in. I think just user experience in general, we all come from so many different foundation disciplines, and then we get into so much cross-disciplinary sharing and activities. What how do you feel your background has particularly helped you in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of my research was on cognitive psychology stuff and visual perception stuff. So how we pay attention to things, how we remember things, how we see color, form, depth, shapes, all those sorts of things. And so what my background has given me is kind of a sort of I don't know, kind of specialized knowledge, I guess, of the limits of human perception and cognition, and that I find really helps me in my work. I find that when I'm conducting usability test sessions and things like that, it's easy for me to kind of zero in on what people's problems are, and it kind of gives me an interesting lens through which to view user experience.
Well, that does tie into your topic, which is red herrings debunking the pop psychology of color. So, without getting into all the details of your presentation, how did you come upon that theme? What are the types of things that we can expect to learn about?
Sure. So the way I kind of came upon the theme was I read a lot of UX blogs and articles, things like that, and I find that you often see people writing about color, which to me is really interesting because it was the focus of a lot of my PhD research. But unfortunately, a lot of what I read is kind of pop psychology stuff about color. Things like maybe blue makes people happy and green is a productive color and things like that. And it's not that these things are bad, it's just often what you hear is not backed up by any scientific research. And so, what I wanted to do is, I feel like color is really important in design. We use it for a lot of things. We use it to convey meaning. to direct people's eye around a page. We use it to create emotions in people. And I feel like as designers, we kind of owe it to ourselves to really kind of understand why color is so powerful so that we can use it kind of more efficiently and more effectively. So in my talk, I'll talk through some kind of scientifically proven ways that we can use color to attract attention, convey meaning, incite emotion. And I'm also going to talk about color blindness, which is something that affects a decent proportion of the population, about 8% of men and 0.5% of women, and discuss some strategies that we can use really easily, in fact, to kind of accommodate them when we design so that our designs are accessible to basically anyone. So yeah, that's what kind of an overview of what you could expect if you come to my talk.
Well, let me just ask you, maybe is there like one nugget from that that you might want to share? One of your myths that we might be familiar with that
Sure.
don't match up with your uh, background from your own data?
Yeah, so one of the kind of topics I'm going to harp on over and over again in my talk is the importance of context when interpreting color. And so one example I use, when it comes to calls to action, lately I've seen a lot of articles talking about, which color is best for calls to action, whether it's red or green in particular. So I'm going to walk through a couple of examples that sort of got carried across a whole bunch of different blogs as kind of proof that one of these colors is the best color to use for calls to action, and kind of debunk the reasoning behind that and show that it's not actually any particular color that matters. It's the context in which the color is embedded that has the biggest effect, basically.
Oh, well, that's pretty interesting. I
Thank
think
you.
I'll be interested in learning more about that. The event's coming up in just a few weeks, so I'll see you there.
Yeah. All right. That sounds great. I'll see you there.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah. You're
All right,
welcome.
bye.
Bye.